I don't know why I'm surprised, because I really shouldn't be, but it's crazy to me how many people are already angry at President Trump for the meeting with Vladimir Putin, even though it hasn't happened yet. They're already criticizing him for how this meeting is going down, the fact that Zelensky's not going to be there, the fact that they believe that they can't negotiate and have a successful outcome here, but nothing has happened yet. Why are we not celebrating the fact that so many people thought getting this meeting was impossible, and yet here it is on the books for this week? Why are we not celebrating that? The fact that President Trump has been extremely tough on all parties involved, ready to do anything that it takes to get a peace deal here, to save innocent lives that are dying every single day. The fact that we're closer to that reality because of this meeting, I can't understand it. I was on ABC and people are already screaming about the concessions President Trump is going to make, about what's going to happen at the negotiation table when nothing has happened yet. Again, it's one step at a time. Thank God for President Trump going in, being as committed to peace as he is, for getting this meeting on the books to listen to Vladimir Putin, see if he's even interested in making a deal, as President Trump has said many times, and try to see if we can get peace. So thank God for President Trump, as I always say, and let me know your thoughts.
Okay, today's Spotlight, U.S. officials telling ABC News that President Trump and Vice President Vance will take part in a virtual meeting tomorrow with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and European allies. This is happening, of course, just days before the president is scheduled to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Now, Zelensky claiming that Putin isn't preparing for peace, just new offensive operations. Russia clearly showing no signs of slowing down its attacks, and they're forcing forward and making dangerous breaches in Ukraine's eastern front. So I want to bring back my panel here, Amanda, Ramesh, Elizabeth, and Tressie. And Elizabeth, look, we want to start here with you because we know that it's hard to analyze all these meetings, but let's first talk about the virtual meeting with Zelensky and some of these European leaders tomorrow, because as of now, they're not invited to this summit. So what's the message?
Well, look, I think the fact that there is a meeting before he meets with Putin is a great sign. The fact is, a lot of people asked me, what do you think about Donald Trump meeting with Vladimir Putin on Friday and Zelensky not being there? And I said, let's not let perfect be the enemy of the good. The fact is, we've had this war go on for 3 years. Thousands of innocents have been killed. Donald Trump is making a great step here in the path to peace, hoping, obviously, for a successful meeting. We don't know what's going to happen. He's been a lot tougher on Putin than a lot of folks, I think, expected or predicted. I'm happy with the way that he has responded to both sides. I'm very hopeful because, again, this meeting is a huge step that a lot of people did not predict was even possible, let alone going to happen as soon as it is happening. So I think the fact that he's meeting with both parties, he's meeting them separately, and his goal is peace, as it has always been, and that's all that we can ask for at this point.
Amanda, our analyst Mick Mulroy feels like it's really important for the U.S. to be an advocate for Ukraine in this moment here, not just a partner in the meeting.
That's right. And I think it's unfortunate that Putin has chosen to elevate, or that Trump has chosen to elevate his relationship with Putin instead of fight alongside Ukraine for democracy around the world. And that is what the world is viewing right now. And we haven't seen Trump's capability to actually bring an end to this war as promised during the election cycle, or as he's promised month after month in the different tactics he's chosen with Putin. So I am concerned about this high stakes meeting and that it won't actually fight for democracy in the way that America has in the past.
Well, Ramesh, we know the White House earlier today, right, said that the Trump-Putin summit is a listening exercise for Trump to get an idea of what can be done to end this war. Is that a strategy you agree with?
Well, I think it is certainly important to listen, but it's also important to be able to tell when you're being lied to. And the administration's desire for peace is laudable, but it is not clear that it is at all shared by Vladimir Putin, who has, he's launched this war. He has continued this war through one war crime after another, and he's never shown any sincere interest in stopping it. The question is whether the Trump administration, which has sometimes seemed to recognize that fact, is willing to stick with that recognition. I think for the most part over the last 3 months, the administration's been on the right track on this policy, but you do have to wonder about its durability.
Well, and in terms of durability here, there's been all this conversation, Tressie, about some sort of land swap, and Ukraine's not even going to be present at the meeting. How are you analyzing that?
Well, I'm analyzing, I think, perhaps the way Zelensky would probably be analyzing it today, which is any decision made about Ukraine without Zelensky in the room is not a decision necessarily made in Ukraine's interest. I think that this meeting, the way that it has been set up, who is considered an important enough player to be in the negotiations, is Donald Trump preemptively conceding that any decision that happens with Ukraine will have to happen with Putin's agreement, which I think even in the unlikely chance of there being a peace accord still plays to Putin's favor. And I suspect that Vladimir Putin knows that. I think going in as a show of strength alongside Zelensky, as others have recommended, would be a very different position than the way this meeting has currently been set up.
Elizabeth, do you think the president, though, by not having Zelensky, by not having other European leaders, goes into this meeting with a little more power of potential secondary sanctions coming from the U.S., something like that, in more of a one-on-one meeting, again, that's happening on U.S. soil?
Exactly.
Well, look, I think was mentioned, I think clearly Donald Trump has some power going in that he didn't have before, solely because Putin now knows that Donald Trump has no fear of threatening those sanctions. At the same time, we're talking about the best interest of Ukraine. What is in the best interest of Ukraine? That's peace. I don't know if Vladimir Putin wants peace. I don't believe that he does or ever has. I do believe Zelensky is saying he wants peace, and I certainly believe Donald Trump has made it very clear he wants peace. Peace is in the best interest of Ukraine and the innocent people that are dying in Ukraine. So if Donald Trump can achieve peace, that's the only thing that would make this a success, and that's what we're all hoping for.
And Trustee, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say the terms of the peace actually would matter, I think, to Ukraine and to Zelensky. And so that is what is up for debate. Wanting peace is one thing. The terms of the peace and who will pay the price for those terms are what I think matters most.
And Ramesh,
And
any
if it's
insight?
a sustainable peace.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramesh.
I mean, you don't want a peace which is just a pause that gives Russia time to take the last bite later.
Right, or even giving them time in the interim to try to advance further if there is some kind of land swap conversation happening, Amanda.
Yeah, and what message does this send around the world right now as well? People are watching what Trump is doing, and every single conversation or listening session that doesn't result in actually strength from America figuring out how to end this war, I think does send a message that Russia can do these kinds of things, and other authoritarian regimes are watching what we are doing and what this is going to mean for them too.
They certainly are.